broken Kanu's way, and Dahui's right out of the centre. It's Kanu, what's he going to do? Oh! Can you believe it?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Can You Believe It, an Arsenal podcast. And I didn't think it could get any worse than what it did last week, but here we are, a 1-0 loss to Burnley at home. I think the first time since 1974 or 75 possibly. So it is a massive defeat for us, and it leaves us pretty much in the lurches at the moment. We're not even mid-table, we're lower mid-table heading towards the relegation zone. So there's a lot to unpack from this game, but it's more to do with the Arteta and the club side that's going to be discussed in this. I also have listener questions as well. I won't go over exactly what I'm going to say in this podcast because there's going to be a lot. So let's just begin with the lineup. So Arteta picks Leno, Bellerin, Gabriel, Holding, Tierney, Xhaka, Elneny, Saka, Willian, Lacazette, Aubameyang. So basically there was one change from the team that lost so convincingly against Spurs last weekend, and that was Elneny for Partey, and that was enforced because Partey is now injured. So not a single casualty from that Spurs side, which is very surprising. I don't think Arteta could have done a lot because I think Pepe's suspended, so he can't play. Nelson is reportedly injured and unavailable, so he can't play. So the front three pretty much had to pick itself. The only change that you probably could do is maybe including Nketiah from the start, or maybe Smith Rowe, but Nketiah hasn't really featured in the Premier League at all this season, and Smith Rowe has just come back from fitness issues and he needs time to embed himself into the squad. So that was the lineup. It was pretty disappointing that the same names got in again. Ceballos is another one as well. Probably could have got in for Xhaka because I don't think Xhaka was good against Spurs, but we'll get to what Xhaka's main contribution was in this game. So the first half played out. It was a bit of a dull first half. It was quite boring. We didn't really attack that well. We had one decent chance with Lacazette that we should have scored, where he hits it straight at Pope when he has most of the goal to aim at. Again, Lacazette is in bad form at the moment, and that chance, if it was in 2018, you'd probably bet your house on him scoring, but he doesn't score that. So the first half ends with 0-0, and yeah, you're thinking we need to see much more urgency here. And to the credit of the team, they came out and actually gave that. There was a couple of chances from Saka and from Tierney, both shooting with their weak foot, but there were shots. There was a Aubameyang header. There were chances in the first 10 minutes of the second half, which was encouraging. You were thinking, okay, we're actually getting on top here. The goal is coming, which was good because I think a lot of times this season we've gone out in the second half and we've just been the same, and we've just continued to keep passing when you really want a response. So you thought, okay, these 10 minutes are good, and then Xhaka does what Xhaka does, really, and it's so stupid. There's no forgiving what he did. Now, Pepe obviously done something similar, and again, he's stupid as well for what he did, but this was even more stupid just because Xhaka is supposed to be one of the more senior members of your team, and for him to completely lose his head was unacceptable. You don't strangle a guy, and it just cost the team, and there's no doubt about it. We were on top with 11 men at the start of the second half, and then he comes and does that, and it's pretty much spoiled the game for us and cost us the game. Now, it's not to say that we were going to win, because I doubt the way we were going we were going to score, because we just can't score at the moment. But we definitely wouldn't have lost the game, and I think Xhaka basically made sure that we weren't going to get anything apart from just the point, or if worse, none, and we did get none. Obviously, the goal that we conceded is an Aubameyang own goal. Finally, Aubameyang has scored at the Emirates this season. Unfortunately, it's at the wrong end. And yeah, and we just didn't really look like scoring after that at all. There was just no urgency and there was no real plan. This team just does not create chances. There is a massive gap between the defensive five, if you will, and the offensive five. There's no link player from the midfield to the attack. And these are things that I've mentioned over and over again, and these are not new issues. So I can't really harp on about it with the system because obviously it's not really helping the players, and it's difficult to play good football and have a coherent team when there is just so much space between the defence and the attack. There's no connectivity between the two. Also in the game, El Neni should have been sent off, I think. I mean, he slaps a player in the face. I was astonished that it wasn't a red card. It was funny because I tweeted on Twitter that can El Neni get himself sent off so we can see some of the kids, and then he proceeds to go do that. Yeah, he should have been sent off. He was lucky to get a yellow card, so there was that. And we finished losing 1-0, and it's another loss. We have won 2 games now in the league since October. One was against bottom of the league Sheffield United, and the other was against Manchester United when we were gifted a penalty. We have scored 1 goal from open play since that Man United game, and that was a Gabriel header, which was a cross from a corner. So even technically, it doesn't count. We are in a bad way at the moment, a very bad way. And I think a lot of people are going to be asking for the manager's head, and that's completely right. When you don't get results and you are in this position, it is completely right to ask questions about the manager and expect his head to be on the line, really. And I like Mikel Arteta. I think he's done a lot of good things, but he is not doing a lot of good things at the moment. The tactics are not good. He doesn't look very sure of himself at the moment. In the press conference on Thursday after the Dundalk game, he got a bit tetchy with a question asked by Charles Watts. So these are things that are happening. You can see he is feeling the pressure. But the difference between if Carlo Ancelotti was feeling the pressure compared to Arteta is that he's a rookie coach and he doesn't have anything to fall back on. When it's good, it's fresh, it's new, but when it's bad, there's nothing really he can fall back on. He's still learning on the job. And it is a shame because he's got to do a lot now to convince fans he's the right man. And I feel sorry for him because it's not just his fault as well. The players. Oh my God, the players. Now, before I get into the players, admittedly, we are not as bad as where we are in the table. We are not the 15th, 16th best side in the league. And that's on the coach and that's on Mikel Arteta, and I completely accept that. He should be under pressure. That is completely understandable because the league position is just not good enough for this squad. But the players are bad. The recruitment over the years has been bad and it's just not good enough. The amount of money we have wasted on trying to fix our problems with short-term signings is ridiculous. You've got Luiz, Willian, Socrates, Lichtsteiner, Cedric. All those signings are short-term gambles and none of them are paid off. The best one out of them is Luiz, but even then Luiz has been bad at times as well. Then you've obviously got the Mkhitaryan swap deal with Alexis. You got the Ozil contract, which in hindsight now looks really bad. And you've also got the Aubameyang contract, which at this present moment of time looks like an absolute waste of money because we're not getting him the ball. We're not giving him the correct service. We have midfielders who are just there. They are not creative. They are not solid. They are just another body in the team. The only one that is above that is Partey. Ceballos can do things that other midfielders can't, but he's not really the quality that Partey is. Partey's now out, I'm hearing, until January, possibly. I mean, the club haven't confirmed the time frame, but I'm hearing reports of that. And the defence, we just have too many bodies, but none of them are really exceptional. The only ones that have been decent this season are Gabriel and Tierney. Tierney, I feel sorry for him because he tried. Both him and Xhaka tried. And you could literally make an argument that all these players should be sold. Pretty much 95% of them should be sold. It's just bad. It is really, really bad. And I think that's how Arsenal have been run over the last few years. It's just badly. The amount of upheaval we've had in the last few years is astonishing. Wenger leaves in 2018. We hired this new committee to run up the future of Arsenal. Gazidis, Sven Mislintat and Raul Sanllehi, with Unai Emery as the coach. And all four are gone within 2 years. That's bad. That shows structural issues. And then we've now gone back to where we were. The power is with one man now. Remember the days when fans used to ask, well, if Wenger goes, what do we do? And that's basically what's going to happen with Arteta. Who's going to hire a new manager now? If Arteta does get the sack, which is looking increasingly likely he is going to get the sack, who is going to hire? Is it going to be Edu? Do you really trust Edu to really be able to hire a proper coach in? I don't think so. There is no idea of where to bring this club forward. They just want to get back in the Champions League as quick as possible because they know that's where the money is. There's no plan to become champions of England within 5 years. No, there's none. There is no identifiable style that this club plays anymore. The Arsenal way does not exist anymore. It's just mediocre. That is what Arsenal are now. Mediocre. They are a mediocre team. No more of a big team now. We were lucky to be in the Europa League this year because of an FA Cup win, which to be fair, he done fantastic to get us that FA Cup, and we all loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favourite FA Cup finals in a long, long time. But I have never seen a coach fall as quickly as Mikel Arteta has. From that FA Cup win to now, all the goodwill has been lost. Fans are now fed up again. We are basically back to square one where we were under Emery this time last year. And it's a shame because I think this season had genuine optimism. Yeah, we knew that we had to do a bit more in transfer market. The non-recruitment of any creative players was a big factor. But we thought, okay, Mikel Arteta seems like an intelligent man and an intelligent coach. We can do decent things. Maybe not top four. I think that was a bit soon, but let's re-establish ourselves back in the top six. But we've just haven't done that, and we are now where we are. And Mikel Arteta hasn't got a lot of time at all, I don't think. We now face Southampton on Wednesday with no fans in the stadium because of London going back into Tier 3. so there will be no fans in the stadium. A point on the fans, they sounded really quiet yesterday, from what I could tell. And to be honest, the team didn't really produce anything to give them anything to shout about. So there's that. And then after the Southampton game, we have Everton on Saturday away. We have Man City in the Cup, and then Chelsea on Boxing Day. And then I think we end our Christmas schedule just before January with Brighton away, I think it is. I do not see, realistically, and this is probably just short-term thinking in my mind, but I do not see a win coming from anywhere. Southampton are 4th. They're flying at the moment. They've been really, really good. Everton are a threat. They look a threat. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been fantastic this season. James has been great. I don't know if James is going to be back. I think he was injured this weekend, but they've been great. They just came back off a great win against Chelsea. Man City in the Cup doesn't really mean anything because it's not really that important. And then Chelsea have been flying this season. I know they lost to Everton, and I just don't think we're going to get anything from that Chelsea game. And Brighton have been quite unlucky in terms of XG. They've been really good this season. Arteta needs a win, and he needs a few wins on the bounce to survive. If he doesn't, he's probably going to get the sack, and it's such a shame. It really is. But that's not to say that a new coach is going to change everything. No, it's not. A new coach will probably come in, get a new bounce, but the issues will still remain. Players that shouldn't be playing for this club should be gone. Luckily, in the summer, we lose contracts of Ozil, Socrates, Mustafi, Luiz. Their contracts are finished. And then next season, I think we lose Lacazette, Chambers, Nketiah, El Neni, I think, as well. There are a few players that are winding down their contracts, but there are a lot of players that should be sold. I mean, Granit Xhaka, I think, shouldn't play for us anymore. What he did yesterday was just the straw that broke the camel's back, really. And it was brilliant that Arteta brought him back in from the cold. He had a great redemption arc and everything, but I think there comes a time where you've just got to accept that he's not good enough for this club, and he isn't. And to be honest, even if those players go, I don't trust the people above Arteta to make the recruitment because, and that's not even to blame just Edu. Arteta is at fault as well. He wanted Willian, so that's not good enough, and I don't think we're just going to recruit smartly. In January, they are going to panic. They are going to panic a lot. But I don't think it's going to be signings that people want. Szoboszlai looks like he's going to Leipzig. That was to be expected. Aouar is now being reported to have links with PSG. If PSG are interested, that means we're going to have no chance. Zero chance. Then there's Buendia. I don't think Buendia will be sold when Norwich are looking likely they are going to be promoted. So where does that leave us? And with players, we need a creative midfielder. That is one of the things that should be top of our list. But we also need a lot more as well. We need some good attackers as well. And we just don't have any. Our attack looks woeful at the moment. So expect panic signings like Christian Eriksen in January. I would not be surprised if he joins. Maybe even a swap deal for Granit Xhaka now after what happened. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Just short-term moves again. And this club have got to realise that they have to start from ground zero. Just stay up this season. We're not going to win the Europa League. We're not going to get in the Europa League spots. Just accept staying up is the main objective from this season and start from ground zero. Start putting some foundations in. That includes putting some footballing bodies on the board that have proper experience to support Arteta or whoever the coach is, because that's the important thing. Have some idea of where you want Arsenal to go, how long you want it to take, and what club you want Arsenal to be. What team do you want us to be? I don't really care, to be honest, if Arsenal were a defensive team, but build towards that. Don't say, oh, I want to be a defensive team, but then hire this player and this player that only really flourish in an attacking team. There's no set Arsenal way. I just want us to be competitive. That's all I want. And I think that's what a lot of fans want. They just want us to be competitive. I think I said last week that I didn't think the players had turned on Mikel Arteta, but I think yesterday you could see, I think they've started to turn. I think the Xhaka and the El Neni incidents, I think, are speaking to frustrated players. I think they're frustrated with the whole situation. I mean, they're professionals. They like to win. So, of course, they're going to be frustrated with this. That's no excuse for Xhaka or El Neni for what they did, but they look frustrated. And then you've got reports after the game that David Luiz and Mikel Arteta are not on speaking terms. I mean, David Luiz is the perfect example of a player who will get a coach sacked. He's the master at it. He's done it at pretty much every club he's been at. So when Luiz is not talking to you, that's how you know you've lost the dressing room. And when you lose the dressing room, it's pretty much impossible to get it back. So here we are, and I don't know where we go from here. As a club, we are an absolute laughingstock, and it's because of poor decisions in the transfer market. I don't even know which manager I really want if Arteta goes. I mean, who's out there? There's Lucien Favre has just lost his job, so he could be an option now. Poch is obviously out there. Allegri's still out there as well. I don't think people who are asking for Allegri really know the exact football he'll be playing. And that's just it on the top of my head. So I have no clue what's going to happen for this club. I just hope that all these issues that have happened have made people behind the scenes, I'm talking about the owners, behave in a smarter way now and hire more people that actually know what they're doing, experienced people behind the scenes, and not just rely on people who are internal, like Vinay, to be promoted and hopefully they do a good job, or recommendations from other people, like Gazidis recommending Raul, or Raul recommended Edu. They need to be proper hires, not just doing favours for friends. And that also includes recruitment as well. We can't just be doing recruitment based on who Kia has. So yeah, that's where we are. I mean, I'm sorry for the rambling, but I don't really have coherent thoughts at the moment. I guess the question is, how do you fix Arsenal is the absolute $1 million question. I don't think anyone knows how to fix Arsenal. There are a few things that they should be doing that will hopefully get fixed and hopefully they can do to make us competitive in the long run, but I don't see it happening. So the only other thing to talk about is the Europa League draw, and I mean, we've got Benfica, so that's not good. Benfica did finish second in their group, so they're not as incredible as they are before, but I mean, it's still a big side, and with the form that we're in at the moment, I doubt we're going to get past them, so that will be really interesting. But who knows? We may have a new coach by then, we may be in better form, so we'll see what happens. Right, anyway, so we've got some listener questions. I think I've only got 2 because I didn't put it up as long as last time. So I got one from @DazHTFC. Thanks for your question, Dazza. And he asks, is Willian the worst Arsenal signing ever made? He's got to be up there, I think, as one of the worst signings we've made. It's pretty appalling how bad of a signing he was. He was supposed to be brought in to increase creativity, and I mean, he just hasn't done that. He's looked really old and really leggy on the pitch. He just looks slow. He doesn't look like he could beat a man. He doesn't have a kind of snap that you see in players anymore. He's just not good enough, really, for our team. And for Arteta to sanction it, but also for them to sanction it for 3 years is absolutely mental. That is one of the worst pieces of business you will ever see from a club. Giving a 3-year deal to a 32-year-old. It's absolute madness. And the club will be paying for it for a long, long time, I reckon. So I guess that answers the question. And the final question, so like I said, there was only 2 questions. It's from @AFC Jack, and he asks, simple, how has this group of players gone from dancing, hugging, smiling, commenting my manager's socials in some cases, to seemingly no longer playing for him so rapidly? I mean, again, this is the $1 million question. How has it gone so bad so quickly? I think you can point to a lot of things that could potentially be reasons. I think the first one is potentially the Ozil and Socrates being left out of the squad. That probably wasn't going to be absolutely universally liked. These are players within the group that have a lot of friends, so I wouldn't be surprised if that affected morale. Again, this is just speculating. Maybe William Saliba playing for the under-23s as well and not being in the squad. It looked like Aubameyang and Lacazette were getting really close to him at the end of the season. I mean, you remember the videos with them and Saliba. So these are things that could happen, but also they're professionals. When you lose games, and the amount of games we've lost, I think it will make anyone really unhappy. And this club is in an absolute crisis at the moment. And I think the prime example of it is Aubameyang, because look at him on the pitch yesterday. He looked absolutely miserable. And I don't blame him, really, because when you get no service, you get scraps, not even that, crumbs. You get crumbs of chances, and yeah, you have every right to be pissed off. Now, that's not to say that his body language was right. I don't think it was, but he is completely within his right to feel as angry as he is, and that is just how they are looking at the moment. There's obviously the reports that Luiz is now arguing with Arteta. So, I mean, like I said earlier, when you lose the players, it's very difficult to come back from. And I think he's losing the players. If it is not already happened already, there will be a chance on Wednesday for the players to make amends. And if they are truly behind this coach, then they will go out on Wednesday and put their heart and soul into that performance for the team and for the club to get us a result against Southampton. Southampton are in great shape at the moment, no doubt about it. But Arsenal have the talent to beat them. Regardless of me saying that the talent is poor, they should be beating that Southampton side. No questions about it. And if the players are really truly on board with Arteta, and you had Gabriel and Tierney, who, to their credit, apologising is very, very welcome from them. I think fans like to hear players come out and say it's not good enough. So be honest. Tierney, with his post-match interview yesterday, did that, so he did really well. But they need to come out on Wednesday and absolutely fire and build some form into this team. If they come out and it's more of the same of that first half against Burnley and after Xhaka got sent off, then this coach is going to be sacked. And it will be Arteta's fault as well, because ultimately he's the one that's got to answer for results, and if the results are not good enough, then he deserves a sack. But the players have let the club down again. We've had 3 coaches now with these sets of players: Wenger, Emery, Arteta. And what's the common denominator? All the players that are here have failed the manager over and over again. And that's poor. That's appalling from them. And it's pretty much a disgrace from them as players to the club. But thanks for your question, Jack. And that's the end of the podcast. It's a very cheery one. I try and always finish on an upbeat note, and it's very difficult to be upbeat after recent performances, recent weeks. I hope things change. Like I've said a few times in the past few weeks, football can change quickly. And hopefully we go out against Southampton and get 3 points, and maybe, just maybe, they can turn it around. But history tells me that it's not going to be likely. So let's just stick together in these times and just see where we go. And hopefully we just get some more happiness coming soon. Anyway, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening. Come on, you Gunners.
Well, it's broken Kanu's way, and Hui's right out of the centre. It's Kanu, what's he going to do? Oh! Can you believe it?